Hey everyone, this is Sir Hieronymus with Caedmon Studios. What you're all looking at here is the startup project that's been in the works for about a month. I put together all the pieces to host a grand solo play campaign of our tabletop RPG called Knight Errant. This grand campaign will be recorded and presented both in written session reports and video summaries of each faction's turn. I plan to follow 4 primary factions in their journeys, with each turn being about a week of in-game time. The entirety of this campaign will take place on the map that you see here. Each hex on this map is to scale 6 miles across. When it's time to explore a hex with finer detail, we'll break it down into a grid of hexes which span 1 mile across each. The white index cards that you see are markers for a Knight Errant mechanic called Grail Premonitions. The primary object or driver of a Knight Errant campaign is the pursuit of the Grail and eternal life. At the start of the game, with every increase in grace, the stat associated with the knight's virtue and holiness, the knight receives a Grail Premonition. This premonition may take the form of a dream of a variety of key locations where the knight might find the Grail. In this case, all player character knights have been tipped off to an abandoned castle with an expansive dungeon underneath it, and within this dungeon the Grail might be found. One of these index cards has been marked underneath with an X, designating as the true location of the Grail. I shuffled these cards up, placed them all near each faction's starting location. Only once I play out each faction's turn will I know which one actually hosts the Grail. Today's episode follows the Knights of New Haven, pictured right here, and their search for the Grail. For today's mission, we have 3 player character knights. This one here is used to represent a bulwark of Ulder, which is a very defensive faction focused around heavy use of their shield and counterplay, counterattacks. He is equipped with a hand axe and a targe. This here is used to depict a Hospitaller of the Holy Barrow, which is equivalent to like a cleric or like a paladin. He's got full plate and a pole hammer. And this here is our Knight of the Blazing Heart. He has no armor, but he has a magic longsword +1. And they have a unique ability which we'll talk about soon. So for this session, the Knights of New Haven rode out from their home base of Fort McGivney in 0608, and they traveled over here in search of the Grail. So as you can see, it's not our place, not our Grail, but we're gonna explore any of it to see what we can get. All right, so on to the dungeon. So these index cards here are what I use to generate a dungeon on the fly. I've just got a whole stack of passages, corridors, and chambers. Just kind of mix them all together, draw them out quick, and that's been the way that I've been doing things. So in this first room, we encountered 2 bandits and a warhound. I've got no dog miniatures, so you'll have to use your imaginations here for a little bit. Bear with me. So we rolled off for surprise, and the Knights of New Haven surprised these sentries. Maybe they weren't expecting us coming into the grotto. So the surprise round is kind of like a free round of attacks for if it occurs, and it goes right to the winner. So we won surprise, we got a free round of attacks. So the Knight of the Blazing Heart dealt 3 damage to his target, but did not kill him. The Hospitaller dealt 8 whole damage with his polearm, wiped his guy out. And then the Bulwark killed his target with his axe. So 1 bandit remained. Now we go into round 1, rolled off for initiative. The bandit won initiative. He dodged a couple of attacks, but he, unfortunately for him, was unable to damage the knights, and they mopped him up at the end of round 1. All right, in the circular room here, we have another encounter. This time it's 7 bandits, 5 with shields and axes, and 2 with javelins and short spears. I don't even have space for all these guys, so we're just gonna throw a couple models in here. So, this was a pretty long fight. Let's get right into it. So as our knights walked into the room, no surprise occurred, and the bandits won initiative. I was ready to kiss my guys goodbye. 2 javelin tosses right off the rip towards the Blazing Heart, who again had no armor. I thought he was going to be a goner, but thankfully both missed. So 2 bandits with axes charged the Blazing Heart, and 3 charged the Bulwark. The Blazing Heart decided to countercharge and use an Angelic Strike. This is the special ability I was talking about earlier. So this ability allows him to burn 1 endurance point or health point, and in exchange, his attack now deals fire damage rather than the longsword's typical slashing. So with fire damage, even if the enemy successfully guards, it halves the damage. So he's either doing half or full damage. There's no total negation on the enemy's part. So that's a pretty valuable trade. and I figure if he was gonna die here anyways, I might as well get some damage off. Meanwhile, the Hospitaller and the Bulwark both declare charges against enemies who are going to be attacking their Blazing Heart companion. The Blazing Heart's charge attack deals 3 fire damage, killing his enemy. The Hospitaller's charge with his polehammer deals 7, also killing a bandit. 2 of the survivors failed to penetrate the Bulwark's armor. 1 bandit dealt 2 damage to the Bulwark, and the Bulwark dealt only 1 damage on his charge. Tough luck, buddy. Round 3, tied initiative, everything resolves simultaneously. So the Blazing Heart and the Bulwark fail to damage their target, and the Hospitaller's polehammer kills 1. The Blazing Heart guards against 1 attack, and the Bulwark makes an armor save against 1 bandit spear. Not a whole lot happens round 3. On to round 4, the bandits take initiative. The Blazing Heart guards against the bandit's attack, as does the Bulwark. The Bulwark parries this 1 attack and gets to riposte. So essentially, when you guard, you can kind of chance it further. You can either take success and be fine, negating the damage, or you can then try to counterattack. If you are beat by the enemy in this roll-off or this counterattack, they actually cut through and hurt you. But in this case, he lucked out and he deals enough damage to kill his target. Now with 1 bandit remaining, Hospitaller does his attack and he finishes off the last man. So in this room being a large chamber, the knights decide to take 3 dungeon turns or 30 minutes trying to dig around the room, find some loot. So for each dungeon turn or for each 10 minutes, there's a chance of a wandering monster. In this case, maybe some other bandits or hounds were to creep around the area to the commotion and start attacking them. We lucked out on all 3 checks. So room 3 is really where my luck started to turn for the worse. As soon as we opened the door, we triggered a vermin trap. So in this case, a swarm of 60 crows descended upon us. Vermin swarms can be very dangerous because their damage capabilities and their armor piercing values both are proportionate to their health, or in this case, the size of the swarm. So 60 crows, they can very easily punch through full plate if they are able to engulf a target, or as I'm worried about my Blazing Heart, he's unarmored. 1 attack could do a minimum of 6 damage if this thing were to win initiative, and that would end him pretty shortly. Thankfully, however, the knights win initiative, and the Blazing Heart starts with a huge angelic strike. So fire damage has the chance to explode on a roll of 6. So not only do I roll a 6 and get another, you also have the +1 damage from his weapon being a longsword +1. So he deals 14 damage, which is then doubled because against swarms, cleave attacks always are provoked, even if you don't finish off the swarm. So that is a whopping 28 damage right off the rip. So after that, his companions deal modest damage. It still has quite a bit of health left. So the crows attack back and they attack the Blazing Heart, dealing 2 damage and blinding him. So he's more or less useless for the rest of the fight. The Blazing Heart's companions are able to at least deal enough damage to provoke another morale test. They bring them down to 17 crows. They test morale, they fail, and they fly away. So we got to the door for room 4 and I'm starting to have my doubts. So my Blazing Heart is now down to 5 health out of 10, and I've just been too lucky. With that last trap, which could have been a complete wipe, I started to play a little bit more defensively. So I open this door here and encounter 7 defiled rats. These are dog-sized rats with human intelligence. They were essentially given the fruit of knowledge and chose to serve evil. Not ideal. So we open that door, notice them, very quickly close the door, spike it, and we are going to backtrack to the opening of the dungeon and grab our foot knight assistance. So we return with our knights and our retainers, and we stack up on that door, the Hospitaller leading the way. We remove the spike, we open the door, and the rats surprise us. And the first attack bypasses the Hospitaller's full plate, and with his meager 2 endurance points, he dies to the first attack. So after the surprise phase, we win initiative and we just completely mop up the rats. These foot knights had pole axes, which deal pretty solid damage and also have cleave. The rats have no armor, relatively low health. It's just a straight up mop. It's unfortunate that I lost one of my best equipped characters right off the rip like that, but He didn't want to put his foot knights in harm's way. He wanted to lead from the front. And greater love hath no man than is, that he may lay down his life for his friends. So he died doing his duty. So that dungeon experience is pretty rough. In only 4 rooms, we had 4 combats, and lost one of our player characters that will be pretty tough to replace. It wasn't entirely without reward. This room had 100 Lebensgoth in it, which is just the system's version of Platinum. So between that and the 250 Goth or GP that I found in the circular chamber, we're really not doing too bad. I mean, 1,250 GP is a pretty good way to start. That knight can be replaced. It does dig quite a bit into our profits, but we'll get by. For the 9 bandits, the hound, the swarm, and the 7 rats we killed, we got a total of 533 experience plus 1,250 experience from our coinage. 1,783 XP between 2 knights is 891 XP. So these are both about halfway to level 2. So we're going to spend the rest of their week-long turn. The foot knights and retainers, they bear off the body of our hospitaller. The full plate is going to the Blazing Heart, and he is going to be in a long quest for vengeance. And we are going to lick our wounds, come back to this dungeon, and we're going to get past the 4th room, Ulder willing. That's all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for listening. If you're interested in learning more about Knight Errant, I'll put a link in the description here for our Discord. You can come in, just chat with us. We discuss the rules, we discuss all the ways that we're trying to innovate and really tighten it up, polish this product before it goes to print. Thank you so much to our Kickstarter backers who made this all possible, and thank you all for your continued interest. Have a great night. God bless you.